Damn, and it's breaking out versus AVAX right now, which is exciting because AVAX is also moving. Oh, let's go. It's go time, baby. Oh, God. I have to pinch myself every day. It doesn't just disappear. Wow. Yeah. Still early. Sub 8 fig treasury. All right. Welcome back, everybody. It's DeltaFi Wednesdays. We've got a squad of 3 today. Rob, Levy, myself, and Crypto Messiah. How's it going, guys?
Yo. Good.
Yo.
It's cracking.
Yeah, fantastic. Just sitting here watching Zapper Fi on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Hope everybody is doing just great because the market looks fantastic. It doesn't matter where you are right now. Your shit is going up, and that's what I like to see. Full risk on. It's not really a question of is your shit going up. It's a question of are you in the right place where your shit is going up more than it is in other places. It's difficult to lose in this environment. But it's important to be mindful. When this does become the case, to not get lost in it, to not get too caught up in it. This is when you hopefully have had a plan to allocate, to be in good places, to make some money. And this is when you start thinking about a plan about how do I walk out of here alive, while also capturing the upside. You don't want to be the guy that holds all the way up through a 5-10x and then is a victim to not realizing any gains. And my strategy, at least, the way I've been thinking about this is, it's time to start selling a little bit in a week or two. And when I say start selling, I don't mean that I'm bearish. I mean I'm selling because I'm bullish. I'm selling into strength. Maybe shave off 1-2% per day, average out over the coming months. Rotate a bit to Bitcoin. We all know Bitcoin is going to go to 100K at some point. Might as well have a bit of allocation there. So
I actually picked some up today for the first time.
Yeah,
this morning I picked some up because I had 0, and I don't even find it that exciting. 2x, but it's a nice base. And if I'm sitting, I had a little cash, I thought, okay, this reclaim here was big for me. When we took this back, yeah. I just thought, not too bearish. And you zoom out, and this was daily support. This was the pump chaser zone. I thought, okay, I better get a little bit before this gets hairy, because if we do end up going on to new highs and stuff, consolidating back into Bitcoin will probably age better. At least that's what we saw in 2017. Now, I like Rob's theory. We've talked about this before. Rob's theory is that in 2017, because most altcoins traded against Bitcoin, it was extremely dependent on the ebb and flow between Bitcoin and altcoins. We saw it in the bear market, right? Alt season, not alt season, alt season, not alt season. But as liquidity improves and as a lot of trading moves off exchange and into DEXs and AMMs and across networks, we are getting a lot more, what would you say the word is, like diversity, or it's less dependent on that ebb and flow, like that yo-yo. It's less direct.
So more of the trade is in USD, USDT, USD, like a stable coin cross than it used to be. Like a lot of this trade was all in Bitcoin crosses back in the day. And now I think more and more is in USD. I mean, Daniel, what are the crosses you're trading? You're kind of in the weeds on some of this farming, so you're doing stuff in layer 1 terms, like.
I mean, the way I see it, and of course I've got heavy avalanche exposure right now. Yeah. I probably say that I'm like 50% just raw, straight up raw dog at AVAX.
Only 50?
Well, yeah,
bro,
I mean,
you left me.
people, get so caught up in chasing the shit coins, and look, I know these shit coins are going to perform, but they get lost in that, and they forget how hard just that base, layer 1 asset can perform. So, I'm just liquidity mining right now. I'm farming my butt off, and maintaining exposure to AVAX, because I'm farming Yak AVAX liquidity and also Joe AVAX liquidity. It's important to, run some impermanent loss simulations, figure out, you can just put in different numbers and things like that and figure out, how bad the impermanent loss could get. And, if we see Avalanche move to $100, $150, $200, which, I think is definitely doable in this climate. You have to think about, well, how hard are the shitcoins going to run? Are they going to outperform it, or are they going to mirror its performance? And I think they do outperform a little bit, but not too much. It's difficult to outperform something going like 5x, but at the end of the day, you have to remember Avalanche is already pretty high market cap, just because of the unlocks and stuff. I do think that the shitcoins in the ecosystem could be extremely undervalued relative to Avalanche, potentially, just due to that, the DeFi ecosystem has a lot of catching up to do. And one of the interesting, I guess, dynamics that could present itself from these Avalanche ecosystem rewards come in the form of, we have this Avalanche, which is basically the liquidity in the ecosystem, right? The AVAX token. It's the base unit of liquidity. Everything's paired against it. Everything's traded against it. And you have a situation to where, they're making it rain free money. At $100 AVAX, we're looking at $1 billion incentive program. This is 10 million AVAX incentives. And the interesting implication of that is that, what if some of these incentives, via auto compounders or via just people buying them, what if some of these incentives are routed directly towards purchasing some of these assets? What kind of things are going to get incentives? What things will be incentivized? Well, I would imagine default routes. That's your, USDC, AVAX, things that are paired against other things that are used as routes when you make trades. And all I mean by that is, like, let's say on Uniswap, there's a pair and it's, DAI, Ethereum. And, you want to get to something else that's paired against Ethereum, and you have DAI. Well, what actually happens there is that DAI is routed through that DAI Ethereum pair, and then through whatever you're trying to buy. So it's important that you have deep liquidity on those base routes. So I'd imagine those get incentives. I would imagine some of the blue chips get incentives. And those incentives could be used to actually buy the shitcoin, like a Joe or a Yak or something like that. These auto compounders have interesting effects on fast layer ones.
I actually picked up Yak for the first time today. Well, a second time. I had a little bag before and flipped it, but I picked up a bag today that I can hold for a while. Learning a little bit auto compounders. I like the capped supply. It's it's mostly in circulation. What are you hearing about the launch time for Rush? I'm hearing rumors of announced
September 22nd.
Yeah, that's the rumor I'm hearing too. So
September 22nd.
So I entertained the idea on the newsletter yesterday that perhaps this thing was cooked on the announcement of those incentives, and when they actually go live, we could just see like some sideways consolidation. Perhaps the altcoins start to run over on AVAX while these incentives just turn into sell pressure. Now that's the bear case. The bull case is that a whole shitload of people haven't even really heard about this, and then the buzz will really pick up, the profitability will really pick up, and it will just be a whoosh of new liquidity on top of the 2.7 or so billion TVL.
I think that the bear case is going to be negated just by the amount of inflow to the ecosystem. We're talking about something with $2 billion total TVL, on the DeFi side, and then with Curve, with Aave, with the incentives that come in as people move to these farms, they add liquidity, etc. It adds a lot of value to the token itself. AVAX is actually very similar to Ethereum in that it's got burn mechanics. People don't realize this, but all of the fees on this network are burned. Yeah. All of them. So
really for AVAX?
As we see that increased transactional velocity, as
I didn't know
people
that.
Come in, as the volume goes up, it's a very strong fundamental driver for AVAX itself. It's got that deflationary mechanic. Just baked into it.
Ren is flying. First of all, I didn't know that. There's that feeling of FOMO you get in your stomach. Maybe it's like a little more up in the chest. And I've been feeling that for weeks on AVAX, despite it being my biggest bag. And I did, I flip-flopped out of a few positions, taking little profits, bought back cheaper, taking little profits, bought back more, at a higher price. But as you talk, I still I repeatedly feel underexposed. It's disgusting.
I'm hearing it. I'm hearing it from you. Like Sicarius, who's the homie, who's been in crypto for years, and I've been a follower of his for a long time. Man, he was making me FOMO a little bit with a tweet he put out today saying the same thing. He's like, I'm like fully exposed and I feel underexposed.
That's how I am.
Like I haven't borrowed enough. Like, it's like,
look, I've been a huge like Ethereum maximalist for a long time. I love the EVM experience. I haven't kept that a secret. One of the incredible things about this ecosystem is that it is literally the first EVM ecosystem that is scalable. And I do think that proposes some interesting situations that we could run into. BSC, wow, that was incredible. It was exactly what the people wanted, exactly when they wanted it. What was that? Somewhere fast, a fast EVM shitcoin casino. And it was just that, but BSC ran into issues. It couldn't scale. It hit capacity. It's centralized.
And it's
same thing.
And look, people are in the chat. They're like, oh, AVAX maxis now. Yes, right now, absolutely. Me personally, this is not like a Hxro Labs, company decision. This is just, Messiah and I are just balls deep in AVAX. We think it's the best play in the market. We will talk about other things today, promise. But I did find an interesting thing today. You always hear about this, like, I like this one, I like that one, and it's usually just because it's in your bag. I've actually gone and used a couple of these other chains, and then I've gone back to ETH, whether I'm bridging or just doing some other old business over there lately.
Man.
It really sucks. Like, I'm spoiled now. I'm sitting on AVAX. I expect 16-cent transactions. I expect them to take 8 seconds max. I'm flipping in and out of things on the AMM, no problem. I make a mistake, no problem. Undo it, no fee. And then I went to Polygon the other day. I sent a thing. It took 20 minutes to send 3 Matic. It was just a test transaction. It took 20 minutes. And when it finally said successful, it said 1 minute ago. I was like, are you kidding me? You're tricking yourself into thinking you're fast. And I'm not a hater. I had a bag of Matic. You know me. I loved Matic at the start of the year. But when it comes to using this stuff, I have never had even close to this experience doing DeFi. So that alone is like, okay, well, I think people will figure that out.
But one of the interesting things about Ethereum right now, and of course Arbitrum is fantastic. If any of you guys haven't used Arbitrum, I'd suggest that you get over there, make a transaction. The thing is right now, even with these layer 2 scaling narratives, it still costs, $3-5 to make a transaction on Arbitrum. Now I will say that transaction was the fastest transaction I've ever made in my entire life. I mean, the second I hit the button,
it was fast. Yeah, I did mess around with Arbitrum last week as well.
The confirmation that it came up, it was incredible. But the thing is people aren't gonna pay $3 or $5 for a transaction. Why would you? That's outrageous. It shouldn't cost $5 to make a transaction when you can make a transaction, extremely fast and extremely cheap on somewhere like Avalanche, Solana. It doesn't make any fucking sense, and it just doesn't. And the issue with Ethereum is that while we have these layer 2 solutions here, Arbitrum has like 7-day finality, which is insane. There's like some MEV related implications behind that, that people are discussing, and also you've got better roll-up technology on the way. So even then, like optimistic roll-ups, like Optimism, Arbitrum, which are all the rage right now in ETH Maxi land, they're only like temporary stopgaps for where they're actually trying to head. And we're encountering this issue to where, with layer 2, we see a fragmentation of liquidity, which is something that hasn't been addressed, and I don't know if it can be addressed. And we're also seeing composability broken, which is the heart and soul of DeFi. All of these different protocols being able to interact with each other.
The interoperable future. I mean, it seems inevitable that we'll end with some sort of, fully bridged, fully under the hood, fully relatively fast and cheap and smoothed over experience, and that could be 10 years out. And that's why I always find this maximalism stuff really weird and just kind of cringe. But look, we do want to shift. We're at an hour today. We're 20 minutes in. We've talked AVAX to the death. What we haven't talked about yet that I really want to get to, we've got, believe it or not, we actually have some planned content here. We got to talk about Solana. Solana went down yesterday. Full network reset. The jokes are coming out that they replugged the system. They had to blow in the cassette. There was that really funny, what was that one you shared this morning, Daniel? It was Alabama, Tabasco. Shit.
Alabama, Tabasco.
Nailed it.
It's funny because everybody was so worried when Solana went down because they were like, holy shit, when this comes up, like there's going to be margin cascades. There's going to be crazy arbitrage opportunities. Like everything's going to be out of whack. But one of the amazing things about that situation was I think that the developer community, for the most part, acted, with a lot of class while that was happening. I think everybody was supportive. Obviously, Sam was infinite bid 150, to keep things.
I heard that. I mean, it did take
on the restart.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Somebody
Rob,
was. We say
was
Sam.
Down for 12 fucking hours.
Yeah, I hear you, but like shit has happened in the past. We're in fucking.
But dude, this is more than that.
Double check. Hey Rob, double check your mic. I think you might be on PC mic, not the Yeti. Just double.
It's fucking garbage. Let me see.
I've done it before. I just want to be the friend that tells you ahead of time that you have some food on your lip while we're at the nice restaurant.
You're right.
He does.
Were you?
You're right. I was on the fuck.
That's so much.
You do sound better now.
That was so much sweeter. Okay.
Sounding better?
Yep, absolutely.
Look,
what were you going to say?
Yeah. I don't know if this Sam infinite bid thing. I mean,
somebody
listen,
was.
There's a lot of Sams on the side of Solana.
Solana has
nothing wrong with it.
A shit ton of support from its early backers, from people who are using it, building on it. I think like the people who are thinking about Solana are thinking about what the network value is going to be years down the road. And, it sold off how much from its high? It was 30%, 35% from its high. And
it was a perfect pump chaser zone tag from its high. Look at this. Look at this thing. Like what FA? This was just TA 101.
That's what I'm saying. It was a normal level.
Yeah, it was a normal.
But we're talking about $1 billion network that went down for 12 hours. Like somebody was infinite bid on that. I was just talking about how the community really rallied behind this, showed a lot of support. You have lending protocols that changed margin limits and stuff to make sure people didn't get liquidated. Like,
and you know what,
people came together and they saved it. When it came back online, it wasn't nearly the shit show that people were imagining.
I'll tell you, as bullish as you and RT and Sicarius are of like AVAX right now, and you're like, hey, I can't be more exposed. There are a lot of people who feel that way about Solana, who feel that way more in the real financial markets, and like they're so geeked on Solana right now that there is a bid out there. So I do agree with there is a bid, but I don't think it's fucking Sam always like there's a bid.
That's the meme. The meme. Obviously, it's not like literally Sam sitting there. The guy's probably got 12 phone calls a day, but it's this idea that to me, that what Daniel just described to me speaks to the brand that I've come to expect from SBF and FTX, which is the lack of liquidations, the lack of damage done to users when things go wrong, when you get a cascade. For example, during any one of the major sell-offs this year, FTX liquidations were the lowest. How do they do that? What do they do to their engine to prevent just unnecessary, wicks like you get on Bybit and Binance? And then did they do that yesterday, perhaps today with the reboot, where they were just, helping some of the protocols finagle some numbers so that some of those awful sort of doomsday scenarios that were outlined in the thread that I shared in our newsletter yesterday didn't happen? And whether that was like MEV arbitragers coming in and then the lenders, there's no like, they're defaulting. It gets kind of complex, but there could have been a lot of nasty sort of bad actors taking advantage of that system reset yesterday. And whatever sort of finagling is the word I like today that they did, to me, it was user protection, and you're going to get haters that hated before this happened, saying, "Oh, that's centralized," and blah blah blah. I think early on, you get a mainnet beta. Look, the technology. There's a lot of people that are here in crypto for decentralization. They don't like the way that the middleman has treated them in the regular world for the last ever, and they want something new. But there are a lot more people in the world who are very comfortable and used to the middleman, very comfortable to banks. Like 99% of the planet who has a bank account is probably fine with it. They'd like better rates. They would like better access to financial products. And they will use a chain, in my opinion, that is more centralized than maybe Ethereum because it's cheaper, faster, more convenient. And God forbid you can call the banker and say, "God damn it, I got hacked, replace my money, insurance, blah, blah, blah." So as much as you want to hate, some people want to hate, they say, well, that's proof that it was centralized. At the end of the day, so is, a lot of major companies. And where's the money going to flow? And are you here for ideals, or are you here to see number go up? I think people are here for different reasons, and it's a bit of both. But yeah. So I don't know. That's my take. I think it's terrible what happened. I'm not the technical guy to look into it. But it sounds like it was pretty bad on a technical level, and they fixed it. They scrambled. Yeah. They relaunched.
Like they were listen. They were in a type of DDoS attack, whatever you want to call it. 400,000 transactions per second.
Just a slight flex too. It's like, yeah, we can handle that. But
getting thrown at it
hurt us.
But I mean, better now. Like
yeah, I do wonder if there will be some changes to consensus. Because of this. And, it is better that it happened now than, happening in a year from now, 2 years from now, when there's actually, real shit happening here, and when there's traditional finance happening on Solana backend. I did see some interesting, big brain posts about the way Solana's mempool operates and how that could continue to be an attack vector.
Like they need to fix that.
If certain changes aren't made, it's my understanding right now, the temporary solution is, didn't they just boost the hardware requirements for node operators, right? One of the downsides, from the decentralized perspective to Solana is you do have to run these nodes on extremely high-end equipment, but then again, the future of finance isn't made to be hosted on a fucking toaster. So
Strawberry Pi.
Raspberry
Pi.
Yeah, the Strawberry Pi.
That's
Strawberry.
Strawberry is the V2.
You've been buying those Chinese knockoffs.
Yeah.
Strawberry Pi is my V2. I'm coming out with it this year. So yeah, it's. I've heard that too about running the nodes in Solana. They're a little hard, high entry. But look, bottom line is no harm, no foul to the bags. Feels good. It's fascinating to me, time and time again, how TA seems to line up with FA. You'll get like a big build up and then an announcement will come and it'll be like the breakout right where you might have expected. Sort of like what we're even maybe seeing in AVAX here. If they announce rush and it breaks out, it's like there's all this build up below resistance. Then you get chaos levels. Suddenly the network is down. You get the pump chaser zone. Like, it's weird because if I wasn't paying attention to any of this, I would look at this chart and just be like, that's sort of like what I was hoping would happen.
Well, it needs to happen. That thing's not. I mean, look how fucking parabolic that thing went.
Yeah,
like that's a great little reset.
No, it's totally normal. Yeah, that's why I thought it was funny yesterday when people were talking about an infinite bid at 150. I mean, the shit hit 143, but it was infinite bid at the 382. And do we bounce here and consolidate? Like anytime you get this kind of move and that kind of smackdown, you tend to get uncertainty, and that uncertainty plays itself out like this, and then. And then it's like everyone forgets about it and it's boring, and then it's like, oh, I forgot.
I mean, just from straight up pullback terms, like what were you looking at? 30-something percent.
Totally normal.
Like, isn't that pretty standard?
382, like a 34%. That's very, very normal. So really is a no harm, no foul.
Solana's gonna make it in a big way.
We are gonna make it.
Yeah, we're gonna make it. But how about this? You know what I've been thinking about is this layer one. It's like ETH's share of this layer one pie has gotten smoked lately. I mean,
it'll continue.
Is that
to get
DeFi
smaller.
Llama? Is that the one where I can find that?
I don't even
I
know.
never go on there, but
I will tell you, like, the amount of cope that I was seeing in my feed from like ETH maxis. And listen, I'm not one who believes in this like defend the chain mentality where it's one chain against another. I think that's fucking garbage. I think this is a multi-chain world, and the fact that people are so territorial over their one chain, like I'm not.
I think those people haven't had alternate layer one experiences, because I feel like I was similar before I did.
Yeah. Who are all these copycats? Because look, 2017, we were hearing the next ETH, right? The ETH killer ad nauseum. There was probably 200 ICOs in 2017 that said the next ETH, and none of them panned out. So I think we were a little jaded at the start of the year myself.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing is EVM DeFi will, in my opinion, always probably be the dominant force in DeFi when it comes to everything. EVM DeFi isn't Ethereum though. EVM was birthed by Ethereum, and it's fantastic. The amount of progress that's been made, the amount of development work that's been put into this is just incredible. But then again, what if we can do EVM DeFi, which a lot of us have been birthed into elsewhere, and it's secure and it's fast and it's cheap and there's no broken composability. I think a lot of what we're seeing from the Ethereum maximalist community is very similar to what we heard from the Bitcoin maximalists for a long time. A lot of these guys have become what they hate the most. Ethereum used to be about pushing the limits. It used to be about taking chances, about building new cool shit. And now it's just become this kind of protective, maximalist, kind of super cringe community. It is interesting, and one thing Solana has done a fantastic job with, because they had a huge hurdle to overcome when it comes to this, is actually onboarding people to a non-EVM environment. When you look at other things, because people always say, well, look at the Atom ecosystem, and Cosmos is a fantastic product. But when you're not EVM native, you have two challenges. Not only do you have to bridge people, but you also have to onboard them to a totally new experience, new wallets, new everything. The same, but different. It's familiar, but it's different. And Solana has done that. I think having that FTX backing, having, the crypto Twitter community get on that early, get in there, use it, help other people out, bring other people in, did them a lot of favors. So in the future, I'm asking myself if things like Luna, if things like Cosmos are, do have a significant portion of this pie, or if it's going to be, EVM and then, the Solana backend. And it will be interesting as well to see if that Solana backend becomes multi-chain like EVM for specialized applications. I think that's something that could happen.
I'll tell you what, I'm scared for the ETH maxis, and I love ETH and I own ETH, but I'm scared for them.
Oh, ETH is still my favorite. I like I said, I love EVM, but this isn't about. This is very clearly a multi-chain future now. And different chains have different trade-offs.
Well, the people who are, the people who are myopic and just are behind one chain, I don't think that's the best strategy. I don't. You might win. You might be all good. Pick one that is a winner, but
okay, like I'm a 5-year-old. Sorry to interrupt. I got excited. What is Alchemist? I've heard about it.
Alchemist is that Mist?
This is Alchemist.
It looks like it is. So Mist is an MEV protection coin. Okay. It's actually pretty interesting. They have these containers for your LP positions that are NFT based. They call them crucibles, and you're able to kind of I don't know the right term for it, but through these crucibles, it's interesting because you're able to participate in multiple farming programs. Now, Alchemist also has an exchange, an MEV protection exchange. They use the Flashbots API. So I can basically go on there and I can make trades that are, I think, gasless, and protected against front running and shit like that. That's mistX. .io. If anybody here is still trading on Ethereum, God forbid, that's a good place to go to make sure you don't get sandwiched, you don't get front run, you don't pay $300.
But so legit project though.
It's the Flashbots guys are the ones that are building it. It's as legit as they come.
Okay, because somebody in the chat asked, Mr. Holland, I believe, Holland Lane, he asked about it, and this chart is inspiring, and I'll tell you why. And here's actually something that we should talk about real quick. The pump chaser zone has been incredibly hot, and it has been serving up entry after entry after entry, and they always feel a little bad when you get into them because things just drop 30%, but a few days later they seem to age well. This is one that looks primed, right? You're down into the support level. The key is the volume, guys. You cannot have a strong continuation of a trend if you didn't have a big breakout into it. Otherwise, it's just noise, right? Price action without volume is just noise. So when I see this volume, which is coin market cap data, so take it with a grain of salt. There's no exchange volume specifically.
Where are you trading that?
Yeah, that's what I got to find out after the show, guys. Don't be ridiculous and send it. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because, and I talked about this in the newsletter yesterday, there are some times when in a trend that pump chaser zone loses a bit of its efficacy. Now, I don't think I'll use Solana as an example, but let's try FTM, although FTM also caught a really nice bid off of it today. Point is, okay, so here's the point. Here was FTM off the lows. You had the breakout in volume here, right? And that was signaling, okay, we might have something cooking here. Comes back into the pump chaser zone, great. You get the pump. But now you drag it up because it will work, it can work again. You can chase trends, ad nauseum. But now we're getting a little further into the trend. And so the volume becomes really important. On the latest high, you really want to see new highs in volume to show that the buyers are staying interested up there. So I actually speculated yesterday, I was ready to let this one just chill for a bit and see. And overnight, it worked again. Point is, they can get exhausted. So what I am really looking for in the market is the start of one, where it's literally like consolidation zone, breakout on volume. Now it's into that zone at support. God, this chart looks good. And one of the things I love about this channel and in our Discord is that a lot of you guys watching have seen the pump chaser tutorial that I made. You've seen the chaos tutorial that I've made. You're starting to apply them to your charts, and I'm getting, my DMs are getting sexier every month because guys are like, hey, did you see this? Hey, did you see that? And this is one. So I don't know what's going to happen to this coin, but it fits a setup that I've been enjoying a lot over the last little bit. And I'm going to, and then Messiah says it's an A1 project. So yeah, I got to.
Yeah, it's absolutely
remind myself
absolutely top tier. I will say though, right now we are seeing a bit of strength on Ethereum DeFi.
Yeah,
right?
I've noticed that too. We should.
It's interesting though when you look at what's the strongest when it comes to Ethereum DeFi.
I always think of Aave, but is it?
Well, here's the thing though, it's the projects that have gone multi-chain. These projects are seeing, because Ethereum DeFi TVL is stagnant. Nobody's using
Sushi though. Sushi's gotten multi-chain. It's kind of underperformed.
No, but here's the issue with Sushi. When you look at any other layer 1 EVM, right? Look at Matic, look at Binance Smart Chain, look at Phantom, look at Avalanche. Is Sushi the dominant exchange on any of those? No. And the reason is because Sushi is an older project. They can't afford to give out the amount of rewards needed to capture TVL. The yield is just better elsewhere. And that's why you see other exchanges, you've got QuickSwap on Matic, you've got Pancake on BSC. You've got Spooky, I think, and Spirit is the other
Spirit.
one.
I picked up some Spirit the other day. I'm just gonna not look at it for a month. I think it dipped.
Yeah, it's but then
it's
you
all
know,
good.
in Joe and Avalanche, and the thing is you know, you're seeing other teams that have taken this base layer, you know, Uni V2 AMM, and have made substantial upgrades to it, and you know, they have the ability and the opportunity to attract TVL. I mean, people want something new, they want something fresh, and sushi's a fantastic product, you know, but I highly doubt that you're going to see sushi having, you know, serious dominance anywhere that isn't Ethereum. It's fantastic that they're everywhere.
Yeah.
But when it comes to something like Aave, when it comes to something like Curve, we're talking about a proprietary product that you know, there is no second best. There really is.
I love when
you can't.
I love when you say
no
that.
There's no second best Curve.
That always gets me going.
Curve is the shit.
Curve is moving
Curve
too.
Is one of the best DeFi projects there is, hands down, anywhere. Period. From the product, the token economics, and look.
Wish we could have had this chat
multi-chain.
6 days ago.
Curve is capturing TVL growth from all of these fucking chains, and the thing is that the TVL growth on Ethereum, you know, layer 1 has been stagnant, but you've got a lot of new money that's interested, a lot of big money that's interested in coming into these other ecosystems and depositing on Curve. One of the amazing things about these other layer 1s is when you have an AMM product, and this is why if you look at PancakeSwap, a fantastic example, there's a lot more trading that happens because it's cheaper to do so. More trading, more arbitrage means more fees for liquidity providers. So if you actually look at, you know, the PS ratios, the PE ratios of something like PancakeSwap, it generates a lot more revenue and it generates a lot more yield for the liquidity providers than Uniswap, for example. And that's solely due to where it is deployed. You know, when there's a super tiny ARB that can be made, and let's say somebody can make $1 on something. Look, if there's $1 on the table and it can be made, somebody's going to take it, always, you know. But on Ethereum, if it costs, you know, $100 to go after that $1, no one's going to go after it.
Yeah.
That volume doesn't happen. It never happens. It never exists. But you know, somewhere like Avalanche, hey, there's $1 on the table and it's going to cost me 30 cents to grab it. Why not?
And those fees get burned.
It's a program.
I love that. Speaking
snatch
of
it up.
burned fees, real quick, I wanted to make sure we get this out there today. Ethereum, $1 billion worth of Ethereum was burned in basically a month. How does that make you feel, Rob?
It's the best thing it's got going for it right now.
I'm grabbing my balls so hard right now.
1 billion, like that's 1 billion, presumably sell pressure. Let's call it sell pressure. Just evaporated.
It's almost the same thing as $1 billion TWAP, you know, that's been going on for a month.
Yeah.
But it's not. It is, but it isn't. Like that thing should be doing a lot better. I don't know.
I think that it's taking the market time to price this in and time to react to it. I think the amount of Ethereum burned is so staggering that no one could have anticipated.
So do we? I mean, that's the thing. That's why I kind of want to look at, like, if I could look at a chart that's ETH over other layer 1s, like ETH market cap divided by the market cap of Solana, Polkadot, Cardano, Atom, Algo, all these things that have literally just fucking mooned. I think ETH could be it if you what you say is true, and this $1 billion burn is underappreciated, under-recognized. ETH long in a ratio against a short position in some of these other layer 1s that have mooned.
Oh, like the relative kind of catching up kind of thing.
Yeah, it could be about to blow up. It's like how we used to trade corn and beans and wheat. Like, you get a freak out in the wheat market and it's really just ran against the others. It's like,
so I mean, you're talking about like a pairs trade.
Yeah, but ratio. You could ratio it long, net short, however you want to do it, depending on your overall macro feel. You could be long less Ethereum than you're short the others. You could be long more than you're short to express length or whatever. But it really, if we could find that chart.
Love it when
express length. There
I seriously express length. And then I also think about every time that, you know, we get the joke like Bitcoin never goes down. I want to throw something out about like there's so many, it just tees up so many great jokes that I can't put out there publicly about never going down. But the bottom line here is that Ethereum has lost a ton of share in this. If you look at this layer one pool of capital, it's lost a ton of its dominance or share. And if this burn mechanism of $1 billion worth of Ethereum been burned, if that is mispriced, then there's probably an opportunity there. I mean,
not only that, but the on-chain guys are talking about a supply shock, and this is for both Bitcoin and Ethereum. And
because you have your L2 staking as well, right? Or whatever, the ETH2 staking.
But just relative, though, to all-time high prices, the amount of Ethereum on exchanges right now is actually like at all-time lows, and this is much, much, much lower, significantly lower than like when Bitcoin was 65K. We're going to see aggressive upside at some point, and I think it could be shocking even for experienced market participants. When we saw Bitcoin run from, what was it, 10K to 60K, that was breathtaking. There was dips were illegal. That's where that up only meme came from, because it's a different market. It wasn't like 2017 to where buy the fucking dip was the meme. Buy the fucking dip wasn't the meme this time, because there was no fucking dip. Zero. It never came. We kept looking. I'm going to get in when we see this 44% retracement, because that's what Bitcoin does. You're not going to get in. You're just fucking not. And one of the interesting things I've been reading, and I've been thinking about, Random Task and I have both been talking about a potential rotation of Bitcoin at some point.
I found it.
It always happens. Okay. What's going to be the catalyst for that? Not only do we have Taproot November for Bitcoin, which I think could be a catalyst, but another thing that I saw on Twitter today, there's several ETF applications that we'll hear about approval for mid-October. Yeah. And that could bring an absolute wall of money into Bitcoin.
Yeah. Like family trust kind of money that just doesn't care about anything else. It just says, I'll buy it all.
Yeah. You guys, the physical market in Bitcoin is on fire. I mean, on fire. And I'm talking to guys who are in the mining world, right? I mean, these miners right now, I think, and this is the quote of one of my buddies he was a big crude oil, like curve trader. He said the most undervalued or mispriced asset in this whole ecosystem right now is probably the ASIC miner. Right?
I was seeing talk about that. Yeah.
An ASIC miner right now, I think he said, is putting out call it $50 per megawatt hour of revenue, and it's costing $3 per hour to run. I mean, think about this. Think about how much money, we're living in a world where yield is hard to come by. And you're talking about a commodity here where if you can get operational with the right mining operation and you can get your hands on these ASICs, think about it. You're putting out $50 per megawatt hour of revenue, and it's costing you $3. Give me a fucking break. That's insane.
And what will close that gap?
Chart right there.
Yeah. What would close that gap, Rob? I mean, more demand, the ASIC's price goes up. Eventually, you're spending more. How does that get priced out?
ASICs the price should obviously be higher, but there is also this expertise needed and you need to be able to locate power contracts, and you need to be in the right place. But
there's also the whole green narrative, that's going on now that wasn't really a concern in the past, and these guys, especially U.S. facing entities, they want to be green. They want that organic grass-fed Bitcoin.
That's fine. If you want to pay more for the organic grass-fed Bitcoin, you can do it. It's still. I mean, we've got my buddy is he's super. What up, Jamie? I don't know if you're looking. He's been in town this week, but I've gotten my real dose of looking at Bitcoin and looking at crypto through the eyes of a physical commodity mind. It's breathtaking, and we're going to be seeing more and more of this. There's a lot of people pointing this out with renewables. Bitcoin mining is not the evil thing that I guess the Chinese made everybody believe it was. But the one thing we do know is that the world of politics and lobbyists around like energy and fossil fuels and that gets super nasty and polarized, and you've got to get through a lot of misinformation. Meltem Demir, she tweeted out a video today talking about like the realities of Bitcoin mining and renewable energy. But I'm telling you, like that, there is a ton of money ready to flow there.
RT, what's the chaos level on Bitcoin?
Oh,
what are we looking at?
That's good. That was dominance. I've just been playing with some coins.
You guys are making me so fucking bullish right now.
Look, here's the thing, because we're on here, we're talking this bag, that bag, and it has been the season of everything being cooler than Bitcoin basically since February. I mean, really, even arguably, okay, April, and then everything else in the dog tokens, and then we died for a bit. And everything else has outperformed Bitcoin from the lows as far as multiples and ROI go. But you look at this chart, and historically, the reason I had it on Bitstamp is because it has more history, and you'll see this hash ribbon signal fire. And I've heard arguments that because this was the China exodus, it was less perhaps applicable to the others because there was like an event and then they recovered, and is that a buy signal? But looking back at this chart, after you saw this off the March sort of death, COVID, and then you get this big rally to $65,000 Bitcoin, like that was insane if you think about it. Coming from the bear market where we thought 20K seemed like forever away, you dip just below the pump chaser zone into weekly support, and now we've just pumped. And the reason I like the FTX chart is because you can see the volume. Like somebody put some size into this right here, and the only dip.
Wonder who that was.
Yeah, I wonder. And the only dip that we've seen really since that was this sort of wash of the OI, the open interest. We talked about that last week, and really just into daily support, pump chaser zone, all the same stuff. So if nothing else existed in crypto, and I was sitting here trying to decide, am I a bull, am I a bear on Bitcoin? Incredibly bullish. Yeah. As a trader, I like a lot of other things a lot more, but we have to stay cognizant of this Bitcoin dominance chart, because I have sat in altcoins that I was bullish on during a Bitcoin bull run, like the bull run where it just rips faces and everything else dies. It's not a fun place to be. And I've sworn to myself time and time again, I'm never going to do that again. So,
I mean, dude, I've recently felt that pain. I still remember being heavily exposed to DeFi still, after the bubble popped at the end of DeFi summer, and watching Bitcoin just fucking rip. Yeah. And I kept telling myself, fuck, if you just rotated, if
even
if
half
you hadn't been such a maxi, just rotated a little bit. Yeah. If you just had some kind of Bitcoin exposure, then you wouldn't be so fucked right now.
Yeah.
Like
you'd have something to hold on to at least. You'd be like, I got a little bit of that orange coin.
Not only does it hurt that your shit's going down, it hurts that there's other guys that are making an absolute, killing while you're getting wrecked. And that's why, it's my plan to start selling very slowly into the mania to have a little bit of that Bitcoin exposure, because what's the worst case scenario here?
It's like a savings account of crypto.
And I'm 2 weeks into my rotation. Yeah. If Bitcoin starts ripping, I've got a little bit of exposure, and that's a hedge against Bitcoin ripping and destroying all my other fucking bags and ripping me a new asshole. Dude, look.
Well, it's also buying power. It's buying power, right? When the next cycle is ready to go, and all those alts, presumably as they have before, end up down on their knees, and maybe Bitcoin dominance is back up to this downtrend line, which is totally normal if we're going to have like a continuation of, just say we do something like this. I don't know. And then it's like ETFs and all this, right? And then we do this. Like, do you want to have buying power up here? Because for that, to really maximize that, you need Bitcoin, because in USD terms, all this stuff might be up with Bitcoin. So
I think you were absolutely fucking nuts for drawing a line up on dominance here. This isn't 2017 anymore.
Well,
we are without a fucking doubt in my mind going to make extreme new lows on dominance.
I agree with you, but I also know markets like to find the most painful route to where they're headed, and they like to catch everyone with their pants down, including apes, sir. And so when you tell me zero chance, right? I remember yesterday I said there's a non-zero chance the dominance bottoms here right now for the midterm. because it is at, it's at that weekly low. It's in the reload zone after confirming a bullish weekly reversal, blah, blah, blah. Even if it just does this, like that's going to, I don't know. I don't know what it's going to do. I'll tell you what, I don't know it's going to blow through this level.
Here's the thing. I love the chat. I fucking love the chat because Logan Paul says messy Euphoria is scaring me.
You haven't seen me euphoric yet.
Oh, come on, bro. Listen, let's roll the tape from 4 weeks ago. You were so negative then. I was like, I gotta hate this negativity.
I'm not gonna call it euphoria. I'm gonna more call it like a return to baseline. I'm letting base ape right now. This is baseline ape messy. Like you haven't seen Euphoria. When I'm euphoric, you will know. You'll be like, holy shit! Like,
we did get some virality out of.
Did he rail a fat line before he showed up on the show? Like, what's he doing?
The sunglasses and the banana were like the test pump of like your Euphoria. When you start the stream that week, and I loved it. It was probably my favorite opening of a stream ever. That was probably like the test pump of your Euphoria. And that's cool. I'm cool with that.
My Euphoria right now involves a $50 banana costume and an $80 ape costume. When you see true Euphoria, we're going to be looking at an $1,000 custom-made, tailored ape suit. It's going to be unbelievable.
With signage like stitched into it and some gold
absolutely.
Etching.
Versace, dude. Versace.
Yeah.
Versace.
I love it. One of my best buddies from school. He was a year older than me, fraternity brother. He's really he's like a TradFi hedge fund. He trades distressed debt. But I've been pushing him on Bitcoin for a while and crypto. He never really got in. We gifted him some. That was his only exposure, but he's one of the guys who had asked me about algo, and he's like, this is like, I'm getting pushed on algo. What do you think about it? I'm like, I don't know. And I started hearing that from a bunch of New York guys, but he ended up, Messi, sending me a picture because he was the guy in the fraternity who would run around in the ape suit back in the day. And he sent me a fucking picture, 22 years old, of him in the ape suit. And I was geeking. I'm like, dude, you are so perfect for this.
He's primed.
Like,
yeah.
Come on, please join us here. Join us.
The water's
he
warm.
Really has. He really has. You know what really converted him was Solana, because that was the one. He visited town for something in July, kind of on the dip, and I was like, dude, you gotta like ape into Solana on that dip, and he did, and he's been blowing me up. But the ape suit is so classic for you, buddy. But listen, if I had a Daniel, like a messy greed, fear, like ape, crazy, bearish, bullish, you're to me right now, dude, I think you're in 75 to 80. I think you're tilted for me. My calibration of you, you're tilted a little.
Okay.
I'd say, and I will say that I'm euphoric, but it's not so much euphoric about the current state. It's euphoric about what I know is coming. I'm euphoric about what could be. I'm euphoric that I will be euphoric in like a couple of months.
Pre-euphoric.
Yeah, I'm pre.
He's front running.
This is this is just the foreplay, boys and girls.
I gotta say, I feel you on that because I look at this chart and I look at everything. I look at everything we look at, and I know it's ignorant to sit and ever say what's coming, and that's where people really lose their shirts. And we could talk to Gunny about about was it 2001, the tech stuff, or
have you seen
we talked to Gunny about 2008.
That is me.
No, like
I've seen the future.
I know, yeah. Like I wish Gunny was on here because he talks about how he got caught pants down in 2008, and he'll tell us about that feeling right before it happens, where you're so sure of where you're at, and that feeling right after, where it's like black swan. So I do get that, and that's a little cringe when you're just, I know what's gonna happen, but fuck, boys, like, what are the odds? What are the odds AVAX is in triple digits someday? And then that someday is like relatively soon.
0%.
Right? What are the odds that Bitcoin does not see new highs this year? Like these odds of things not going the way we're kind of positioned for them to go seems so low. And I'm not going to say
It's-
I
it's-
know, but I
it's like
feel it
back when
deep in my
Ethereum was
bones.
$800, right? I mean, here's the thing. I feel like everybody on this panel, when Ethereum was $800, like, was that fucking awesome? Hell yeah, it was. You know, I made a ton of money back then. DeFi was going crazy. Like, I was really, really, really like in my groove. But I knew in my head, and I was euphoric about it, that holy fuck, we are going to see an Ethereum all-time high at some point, and it's going to be sooner than people realize. And I was euphoric about that. There was a 0% chance. It didn't matter what the volatility cones said. It didn't matter what probability models said. I knew they were all wrong. I knew this was going to go to an all-time high. I've been in crypto a long time, and I could just fucking smell it. And I smell it right now. There's still guys that are sidelined and salty. There's still guys that are bear posting.
Well, it's really hard to buy higher after you were so bearish and maybe offside. And like, when do you choose to bite the bullet? And I think anyone who was not on board from the lows, which is understandable, it was dark, it was scary. If I was newer then, I would have definitely not been adding here like we did this summer. But you have to pick a spot. And each time that it's scary and you want to shit yourself is usually the spot in a bull market. And every time those things happen, like last Tuesday, like early August, every single time without fail, the question is that the top? Is this still the dip, or am I screwed and I need to get out and save some of the money I just lost from the highs? And it happens ad nauseum over and over and over and over. And it usually, by the time the top does come in, you're so sick of having sold those dips or not loaded up on them that you don't even look at it and you just buy more and you get screwed out. Like, so when I catch myself, it's weird. You got to be through a cycle or two and really do a lot of like introspection and journaling to catch those emotional moments. And by the time the top comes in, you will be so fucking complacent that you're just, you know, so the fact that we're still kind of in this caution mode, I mean, the fear and greed just went from like 92 to 30 on that. We're a very emotional market.
Dip. You know, I'm still asking myself, what if?
Yeah, it's always going to be there.
This is the complacency leg.
Yeah.
You know, the market hasn't proven yet that it's not. So there's always going to be that fear in the table.
Yeah.
But what happens to the market when without a doubt, this is not the complacency leg? What happens to the market when that mentality enters? When people go full risk.
But
this is what happens, because we had that right here, right? This was last September, and I remember it like clockwork, and I still remember the tweet that Ledger put out. Remember, Rob, we talked about it on stream. It was like, he just basically said, enter all markets, and it was something like right here. And I couldn't figure out why or what he saw, but this was that, right? We had the lows, we had a nice rally, we had a death, and then we were just chopping. And once this complacency leg, and that was basically right here, this was the short reload zone of that area. Once that broke, we just had like that up only for.
The bottom line with these markets though is that the sell-offs are so sharp and nasty, and they always happen. It's like they always happen. And what I try to tell, because most of the incoming messaging I get from like my friends, my normies, people that like are just everyday folks, they're not the daily crypto traders or market makers or liquidity providers. The whole normie section of my life, the incoming I get is like, when should I buy? What should I buy right now? And it's usually at these sort of times when we're all jazzed up. We've had a great green candle run. We've been pumping. We've been going higher. And what I tell them, no matter what, is I wouldn't buy anything right now. Wait for when it feels bad, right? Because even if you miss a little bit right now, these pullbacks get to be so nasty in crypto that there's almost always, whether it's per every quarter, every month, there's this time where the market's looking for buyers, right? It's over leveraged, and all of a sudden, even the people who are the most like bullish, they think like, shit, was that kind of the top, the local top? And even the most bullish guys get scared for a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's when I like for the normie people here to like allocate more capital to this. And I got a great text the other day on this last dump. It was from one of my brother's best buddies growing up.
who I had said that to, and it was a nasty day, and I was feeling like, Jesus.
Oh, I'm like in a bad fucking mood when those days come.
Yeah.
Dude,
Like,
when he wrote me,
uncomfortable.
this dude wrote me, and he's like, deploy today. I was like, you know what? You fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. It made me feel good.
you know, I will say when I was on the sidelines and I was scared and I was going through those emotions, you know, there was a couple of like hurdles and a couple of internal conversations that I had to have in order to flip bias. You know, I had to really sit down with myself and really think about, you know, why I was here. And I came to the conclusion that I'm not here, you know, to make a little bit of money. I'm here to have fuck you money. And I'm here to where I never have to be a wage cuck and my family never has to be a wage cuck. And they can just pursue whatever their heart desires. I'm here for fuck you money. And being here for fuck you money means that I need to just accept the fact that I have a couple of screws loose and go full risk on, because it's those kind of guys that make and lose the most money. Yeah. And hey, I figured, you know, fuck, if I am here for the fuck you money, if I am here to change my family's life forever, there's only one way to do that. And that is to go bullish as fuck, balls deep, risk on. And I was able to say, well, fuck it, dude, you were wrong, but it's not too late to be right.
I agree. No, and I said it, that's one of your best traits. And I was never worried for you when you were so bearish, like when we were lower.
I was worried for me, Rob. I was very worried.
Rob called it. You know, he said once we're back on side, you're going to get size and conviction, and you're going to outperform RT. Now, he didn't say it quite like that, but it was.
You've done great, though.
I've had a really good month, but that move off the lows, I caught it. You know, I picked up some Bitcoin. I was on side, but I picked up a little bit. And then you see AVAX ecosystem coming, and you're just like, boom, 100x in a week. And I was like, oh, and I was like away that week. So but I laughed because, you know, but I'm with you there, and we're having some fun over there, and I'm not worried at all. And it's not even a competition, but for the sake of the show, I like to say my alts are better than your alts. But now we're in the same bag, so.
The fundamentals of crypto are different than like fundamentals, right? Like it used to be a meme where if someone brought up fundamentals with altcoins, like you're like, get the fuck out of here. This is, you know, no. But I do think that there's enough going on here, and there's enough with, you know, between the DeFi, between liquidity providing, between rewards, between all of this stuff, that there is still a tremendous amount of low-hanging fruit. And what Messi's proven over the years is that he can fucking sniff it out. And I wasn't worried when he was bearish. I'm like, as soon as this thing turns, there's no one who like realizes it and jumps on the right stuff better than him. Yeah. And
sometimes the right stuff, you know, everybody has their MTA moment, and you know, things like that as well. So
yeah, but that was one of 10.
Well, we hang out now, and you appreciate my TA a lot more now. So next time I see you in a bag and I see what I did see on MTA, I'll call you.
Look,
because we were on this show last year, and it was awkward because, you know, we were.
Well, it was two different universes.
When this thing,
you know,
when this thing broke here, I just said, "Get the fuck out of all markets, MTA."
Here's what I always tell my friends. I am the most stubborn son of a bitch in the world. You know, part of that probably just becomes from I'm an incredibly proud person. You know, a bit of a narcissist. You know, I don't want to listen to anybody but myself, and I will listen to people. But what I always tell them, you know, I come from a sales background. Okay, a very, very, very deep and strong sales background. Like it's very, very difficult to close me. Nobody can close me. And that's probably because I can close anybody. I know all the tricks. I know you're going to try to crush my objections. And when somebody comes to me and they tell me something, especially, hey, you're wrong, that's the mode I go into. So I always tell my friends, look, if I am wrong and you know I'm wrong, you have to just abuse me. You know, you have to just abuse the fuck out of me until I say, God damn it, you know, okay, fine. Because trust me, if I think you're wrong, I'm going to be abusing you. So it's just, you know, what goes around comes around. That's just the way I have to be dealt with.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I've got your back now, man. If I ever see you aping about a shit bag that just broke a major support,
you've got to bust my balls. You got to beat the shit out of me about it. I'm a stubborn son of a bitch, and I know it.
I do. I want to know what's going on in your mind, though. Like, because we did, like, at those lows, it's not that I was busting your balls, because, you know, it's not always great busting your balls with a guy who's, you know, really strong-minded. But I do wonder if you were hearing it or if you were like, fuck that shit. No, we're going to 24,000 before this thing turns around. Like, you weren't, I don't think that's how you were. I think you were taking it in, but it felt bad enough on the markdown we had on all of this shit. Like if you were long all this stuff, those sort of markdowns on your, mental psychological net worth or your marked price of your whole fucking portfolio, it hurts. I mean, trading is an extremely, extremely intense emotional and psychological, affair, unless you are pure quantitative and programmatic and not, you're taking everything else out.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is most of us are not that way. So it presents some real dilemmas.
Look, when you lose, millions of dollars in a very short period of time, like, I don't care who the fuck you are, that's a very, very difficult situation to go through from a mental perspective. And it just is. It's a dark place to be in, because if you think about where you were and then where you are now after the drawdown, all those plans you were making, all those dreams,
your reality is just jolted.
Your reality is literally jolted. Everything that you thought was going to be possible, that you thought you were going to be able to do for your family, hey, whether that be I'm going to take care of my parents' debt, or I'm going to buy my first home, or I'm going to get a better car, all of that just goes out the window. So it's not so much about, hey, the money's gone. It's your dreams are gone, and that's like absolutely soul crushing.
Yeah. Well, and there's a deep sense of personal responsibility for it too, right? Shame, regret, aloneness, right? Because you're entirely alone with your trading. And this is a broader conversation that we should have, because everyone in this chat has felt it. Everyone on this panel has felt it, and it's dark. It gets really dark.
We know, like, it is, and it's just, this is a distribution of probabilities. The thing, like, Ryan in the chat's bringing up a good point. If we would have broken and traded down to 24,000, guess what? A certain amount of people would have been like calling for 12,000 slam dunk.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
there's no bottom when it comes to bears. Yeah. Just like there's no top when it comes to bulls.
Yeah, because it's really a distribution. I mean, in the end, it's not necessarily a normal distribution, but there's a certain, you go through all the models you can do and binomials and this and that, and it's a distribution of probabilities of what could happen. We never know. Like, a lot of people didn't think about, when the COVID crash happened and BitMEX had to kind of, turn their liquidation machine off for a while just to save the whole thing. But it's like, we never know. It's just a distribution of probabilities. And what we want to do is, I think it was Kyle Davies from 3 Arrows wrote a nice tweet the other day just saying, listen, if you are just spot long for the next certain amount of years, you're going to fucking make it. Do not put yourself in a position to blow up, because we are early. This thing's going so much higher. Like, we are going to make it if you position yourself correctly in terms of your account balance. If you're using derivatives or if you're just using spot, like it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
And Messi, you were one of those people who just always said, altcoins are enough leverage for me. I don't need leverage, period.
Yeah.
Leverage scares the shit out of me. Okay, listen to this. This was like one of the most awful, I'd say, moments of my year. Not only was I bearish, I'd had several successful shorts, all 1x leverage. One of the concerning things about being short, 1x, if you're long 1x, you can't get liquidated, right? If you're short 1x, you can. Yeah. So I'm not only am I wrong, but I'm having this internal battle and struggle with myself, and I'm watching, it go up, and I'm watching myself lose money, not just be sidelined, but lose money. And I'm watching that liquidation price, and I've got a sizable amount of my net worth on the line here. And I'm just saying to myself, you have to be honest with yourself. You have to admit it. And even if you are right, you can't afford to continue to be exposed to a possibility to where it takes you out of the game.
Yeah.
So you just got to suck your pride up. I know there's some guys in the chat right now that said, I feel like I'm there right now. I feel like I'm depressed and I feel like I'm not going to make it. Trust me, guys, if you believe you're not going to make it, you're not. You have to get your head right. And I don't know how you do that for you. You know, for me, I've had struggled with depression and stuff for a really long time. I've handled this stuff for a very long time. So I'm very strong. I know myself. I know how to combat like the mental health issues and things like that. You've got to get your fucking head right in order to succeed. You have to tell yourself, and I know this sounds cheesy, but I promise you, you have to tell yourself and you have to believe that you can do it. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe you can make it, because if you don't think you can make it, trust me,
self-fulfilling prophecy. Look, one of the things, and I talk about this all the time, and it's easy to sit in where you guys are sitting and see where we're sitting and just be like, oh, these guys, they're always on point. They're always on the spot. Look, I miss things all the time. I flip-flop in and out of positions that I didn't really talk about on Twitter, where I'm like, I'm long AVAX, and then it moons like a week later. And meanwhile, I flip-flopped in and out of it like 6 times with half my bag. And look, it is a grind, guys. You got to have a plan. I say it all the time, but it's like me coaching basketball. You know, I'll tell you where you got to be on the court to all my old players, but like, give me a ball and I'll miss 8 out of 10 free throws. Like, you know, it's easy to say, it's easy to coach. Doing it is a whole other thing. And the number one piece of real advice I could give you, if you're just feeling it right now, you're just feeling like shit, you're offside, put away the leverage, period. And step off for a week. The market will be here. The prices, they might be higher. They might leave without you. They might be lower, and you might make money walking away and clear your head. You don't know. Nobody knows.
You have to let
you
your
have
soul
to reset
heal.
just right away.
You have to let your
seriously
soul
reset, and that might mean 50-50 exposure, half Bitcoin, half cash. Like whatever your reset is, whatever you're comfortable with, leaving in and not looking. Just get the fuck out, because you will grind yourself to a stop. And I hit rock bottom in January 2020. It was at the end of the bear market, right before the bull started. And I had gone from like 2K in my savings account as a totally normal, like basement apartment teacher, right? I had gone to 600,000 at the top of the 2017 bull. Not always doxing my amounts, but like that's where I peaked. I got out with about 100 of that, where I just took it out. I paid all my debts. I bought a little car. I was like, oh, this is so boss. And I watched the other 500 turn to dust over 2 years. And it wasn't just straight, right? It was there was a bull market in the spring, and I made some back, and then I lost. I hit rock bottom in January 2020, and I had 10K to my name. All of that money I'd taken out was gone. And yeah, my 15K debt was gone too, but I still lived in a basement apartment. You know, I drove like a little Honda. Like, it was dark, and I had a half-time job. I thought I was going to make it full-time crypto.
I did all of this for nothing.
I had 10K to my name, and I sat there, and I had done the TRI course. I had learned the shit, and I finally just sat there and said, I'm going to fucking do this the proper way. And I stopped. I unplugged. I reset. I had the plan. Everything I did was algorithmic. Everything I did was a perfect, decision based on a plan. And in 3 months, I 2x'd the account in a very flat market. But it took a month and a complete reset, and it was boring as hell. I got to be honest, it wasn't exciting. I had no dopamine. Doing trading the right way is not exciting. But, here we are a couple years later, a few 1,000% later, life is good. And now I've actually stepped away from that process. I need to get back to it. I've been saying it for weeks now. I need to get back to boring and algorithmic, because I'm probably leaving a lot on the table here, just kind of like fucking around a bit. But the market's forgiving. The market's forgiving right now. But all that to say, and I feel bad for the guys in the chat if you're feeling that right now, just really seriously unplug and reset, and don't go to telegrams and community chats. Those guys love you all, but you're all idiots. Like most of that kind of crowd's not going to make it, and they're not going to help you make it. Get away from that shit.
I see Michael Unitish, Uni in the chat, who's a guy, Chicago trading guy who's been around, was a pro market maker. He's absolutely right. You always need to stay humble in trading. This is a difficult place to be. These markets, they mess with your head. You get a little success, you think you can size up and do more, and then boom, it smacks you in the face. I mean, this is not an easy game. So when you are on a streak, when you are hot, it is always good to take some profits and take some chips off the table, right? The bottom line with these markets are, and I think it's more present in these markets than even the equities markets, which are just fully backstopped by the Fed and just number go up just constantly, albeit slower, is you always get pullbacks here. And they're always nastier than you would think they would be. It's like a vacuum. So, when you do take profits, you put some chips away, just know that usually I'd say greater than 50% of the time, you will have an opportunity to buy back in at that level.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest thing to think about.
I'm the worst at that. Like literally the fucking worst. There's this rotator meme on Twitter, and look, I'm a proud rotator. And RT, do you have the ability to pull that up? I think I retweeted.
Yeah, I could find that
a couple of days ago. Look, I'm a proud rotator. I martingale my sack off when the market is risk on. And the issue with that is I always make way more money than anybody I know on the way up, and then I lose way more money than anybody I know on the way down. The issue here is that because I'm exposed and I'm continuously trying to take advantage of the market, trying to take advantage of these opportunities, I don't put away that ammo to buy the dip. And then when the dip comes, when that opportunity to make 30, 50% in a day presents itself, I'm sitting there with my thumb on my butt, coping about how I can't buy the dip because I'm just wrecked. So, that's something I'd really like to work on moving forward.
Yeah.
That's me.
And one of the things
I'm rotating.
Yeah, here he is. Oh, no, lost it. Where was he? This guy. I'm like that too. And Dan, Rob, you made some good points here. And my problem is, and this is the mistake I make as a trader, is I'll often sell. I'll take profit. Like for example, here, Chaos PRZ came in on Solana. I was feeling really good about myself. It's over $100. I was buying it in the 20s. So I took some profit on it. And so now if I do get the pullback, I'm just buying in at break even with that. But it doesn't matter because it's a new trade. And I may not get that entry again, and I have to be okay with that. I've learned over time to just not really give a shit. I'm like, oh, number go up in my account that I've secured. That's the only thing that matters. I love Solana. I don't care if I'm on board for the next 2x or the next 10x. I'll be on some kind of trade somewhere. And if this does consolidate, dip into here, I'm probably not going to get it back that cheap. I might right at that level, but more than likely, my next trade will start from a higher level, and that's something that I've learned to be okay with. I'm getting a lot of refreshing DMs lately from people saying that, they've picked up these simple concepts like wait for the goddamn dips, take some shit off when it's like euphoric up in chaos, and I gotta say, I think people watching it are starting to use it even better than I am, and so power to you guys. And if you haven't yet, look at the videos. Come with any plan. This plan here, it's better than none. And in many cases, I think it's probably better than most. I
do think, one of the main questions that traders and a lot of new traders are thinking about, and I'm seeing it in the chat, is, okay, so you get the pump, you get the price appreciation that you were hoping for the, your bag, and you do sell some of it, right? What do? Are you selling it into stables? Or are you rotating it into something else?
Yeah.
And I think the bottom line is, no matter if you're trading just spot or if you're trading in the futures space and the derivatives and all that, you always keep track of your notional exposure. Keep track of the dollar value of your coins. And if you put in 10 grand to start and all of a sudden you've got $40,000 worth of coins, be cognizant of that. If you sell into stables, then maybe you want to keep 10 or 15 or $20,000 of just pure dollars or stables, and you'll play with $20,000 of exposure.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is, know what your notional exposure is. It's pretty easy. You can do it. If it's spot, it's easy. If you're playing in the futures space, it's also easy. So just know what your notional exposure is and keep track. And always, you always want to have a certain amount of stables there for
Tuesday.
Yeah. I mean, it's that simple. Those days always come. And even as good as you feel after we've just ripped, those days just come. And no matter what, when like the music stops on a rally,
sushi,
the liquidity vacuums can be they're just sharper than we think they would be. So I would always be cognizant of your notional exposure in dollar terms or in euro terms or whatever your home native currency is, where you have to pay the electricity bill and the rent and the school bill and all that.
And
so.
And I mean, we could go, like, trading is such a deep art that we could get into this ad nauseum, and we'll talk a little more about it, because as much as it's nice to share alpha and have these ideas that we can spot trends in the market and give people an edge in the market, just the ultimate edge is self-control, discipline, all that stuff. You can have the best TA in the world. You can talk to all the insiders you want. But if you don't have your core base planned, ins, outs, risk managed, you will get washed. And people with very mediocre access to information and very mediocre TA or whatever else, who just have insanely good discipline, they will do very well. So it's almost, risk management, we talk about it, but it's the most underrated part of it.
Yeah, what the hell's going on with Ren?
Sushi's pumping, but yes, let's go see Ren.
Ren is the redheaded stepchild of the Sam coins, and has not gotten any.
Sushi's kind of a weird.
Fuck! You're gonna make me rotate.
Rotador.
Every time I see you put out that, like, you're gonna make me bridge. Who is that? What is that original image from?
You just want to know for research purposes, right?
just research.
Yeah, just research purposes. Rob would like the link to the video that image came from.
That is a video?
Yeah, it's a video. It's a porno, dude.
I'm such a boomer. I am a boomer.
Rob's like, man, that girl looks really happy. Where did that come from?
It's a funny movie, I heard.
I don't know how happy she looks. I don't know.
Just the right mix of pleasure and pain.
It's an intense look, but she's gonna.
Yeah, it's Riley Reid.
Yeah.
You guys are killing me, man. What is going on with Ren? Has been the sleepiest coin for the longest time, and it's just looking so hot today. And that's really what it's about, right? Buy the sleepy markets, the sleepy coins that are building.
Sam is taking Ren private.
Yeah.
It looks.
Look, Ren is badass technology, and when we're talking about a multi-chain future, things like Ren are absolutely necessary. Things like Ren are going to enable that multi-chain future, and it's really interesting because everybody talks about the bridge for Avalanche, right? Why do they talk about the bridge? Well, have you used it? It's fucking awesome. Okay,
smooth.
But the bridge for Avalanche is more than just a great user experience. It actually has some great technology behind it as well. It actually uses Intel SGX, secure enclaves. There's multiple wardens that kind of watch over the bridge to keep this bridge secure. Ren is using similar technology. I think they've gone the Google route, but they're working directly with Google engineers using Google's secure enclaves as a security for their multi-chain infrastructure. Ren is going to connect all these things, and hey, it's a Sam coin too. So I was having this discussion earlier today with people. There's a difference between a Sam coin and a coin that Sam owns. You don't want to have a coin that Sam
Not that
owns.
he's farming, that's for sure.
If you have a coin that Sam owns, you're not going to make it. You want to have a Sam coin. You know which coins are the Sam coins because he's not dumping them on your head.
Yeah, he's putting the bid on them.
Is
yeah.
one of those. Oh, yeah. If you are in Sam's good graces, if Sam likes you, like Ren, like another coin that I know that I will not mention as well, but take a guess. You're not getting dumped. You're getting support. You're basically you're given the keys to the kingdom.
And your name's popping up in all the right places to all the right crowds. Yeah. Well, look, Ren's giving me a little bit of FOMO right now, as is Sushi. But what is this really look? Let's take this as we wrap up because we did talk before the show about doing an hour. I'm good for a little more, but let's start to wrap here under perhaps the question. I'm going to pose this to you guys: what trend can we extrapolate from Sushi, Ren, and a couple others? And I think Ethereum DeFi is the obvious answer, but what else do you see? What else can we maybe expect to chase? Does something like to follow Ren, Sushi, like maybe Uni? I don't know.
I think the bottom line is, like we talked about it last week about AVAX. Remember, everybody was down in the dumps about AVAX. It was underperforming for just that week. it was, people were bummed. I got in at the top, but you can't time this shit. Like, the stuff has a life of its own. It's going to move when it wants to move. You can't time it. So if you find something that you really, really you believe in for whatever reason, don't just, you can't think because other stuff's moving and this thing isn't, that it's a dud.
So don't sell your whole sushi bag last week to bridge to AVAX and buy the highs. Like I added I switched my entire sushi bag over a week ago to bridge more AVAX, and that's cool. I'm just not going to go back now and chase that one.
Yeah, well, it's up 30% now, and AVAX isn't up 30%.
Well, not today,
but
tomorrow.
No, I'm from then. But the bottom line is, you're not going to be the one to perfectly time this shit. I mean, rotations are great, but it's you can also get into this nasty cycle of trying to chase.
Yeah.
And
excuse me, but I am the best rotator in the business, and I always sell
the rotator would beg to differ here,
about.
Rob.
Yeah, no, he happens to be a phenomenal rotator.
Look at this DeFi.
I love his rotation. His rotation, like if it's a him versus ledger status in a rotation competition, I mean, they go messy 9 out of 10. I know.
Talking some shit here.
No, and I love ledger, but your rotation is just you've got the technique down.
So is it time, on that note then, is it time to be thinking about an ETH DeFi rotation? I mean, obviously today they've moved. There's certain ones I wouldn't chase. But look at this chart if you just want to zoom out. And at what point does this DeFi index include non-Ethereum DeFi names? AVAX.
I think that's an interesting point, to bring up, because DeFi has definitely transcended Ethereum. So, why keep this DeFi index exclusive to Ethereum? Why not have competing DeFi indexes?
I'm sure it's a certainty they will.
Solana and then the Avalanche DeFi. And then it brings up some interesting things, because then you can start charting different indexes versus each other and see, who's outperforming. Where. Look, Ethereum DeFi is going to fuck. I have no doubts in my mind. This shit's going up. Okay. But the real question is, and this is coming from somebody with experience in this field that was exposed to Ethereum DeFi, that sold the bottom on Binance Smart Chain and watched Binance Smart Chain do 100x, right? Which would have been absolutely life-changing money for me. And watched his bags do, a measly 5x, which is nothing I can really complain about. But I think we're going to see a similar situation unfold here, to where, does Ethereum DeFi perform? Fuck yeah, it does. The market's risk on. These protocols are fantastic. Have more users, more TVL. A lot of these protocols have gone across chain and are acquiring more users and TVL that way. But do you outperform the native DeFi on these other chains by being exposed to Ethereum DeFi? I think the answer to that is still no. And if you disagree with me, my question for you is, have you used DeFi on other chains? I think it's very simple, when it comes to who's pushing these DeFi coins up 100x. Well, the apes, okay? And the apes aren't here to pay $300 for a trade. The apes want to pay, 50 cents for a trade, 30 cents for a trade. That's exactly what happened at Binance Smart Chain with Pancake Swap, 100 fucking X in a month.
I like, CEX trading the most, probably. That's where I've had the most success. Stop losses, take profits, trailing stops. There's so many tools. And that's where I'll trade my ETH DeFi. But I got to be honest, I hate using Ethereum and Uniswap. And it really makes my stomach hurt. When I swap a stable to a stable just to go pay for something, and it's like $400, and I'm just like,
it fails. When you make a swap and it fails, and you go, fuck,
$82.
I just paid $100 and it just vanished into the ether, literally.
Yeah. So it is a hard sell for me to see the next major wave being more of that, because that is so painful. And that's coming, look, if you make a $10,000 transaction and you have a $100 fee, that's still 1% fee. That's still high. And most people are making a couple hundred. In fact, a lot of my family members who got involved in the spring have little shitcoin bags now. They can't even sell. There's no point. They're worth $80, and the fee to exit is higher. So, yeah, I think the public, when they come, and they are the ones who tend to push markets past where perhaps there should be valued at. That's the speculative bubbles we get into, which is what we're all here hoping to catch a ride of. They they will most likely be on cheaper chains. Or CEXs, right? Or Binance and whatever else. Although there's KYC creeping in, that might scare some of them off, so who knows? But this DeFi perp looks fantastic. This trend line is made up. It does not exist. I'm just playing around here. I think more likely you want to get like 2 key points like that. But this weekly support bounce is strong. And this is probably what the DeFi bull run would look like, is something up into this kind of next level stuff. And I think that could extend across a lot of new
curve
DeFi.
at $10, $12, something like that. Aave over
Look,
1,000.
every single bull run crypto has ever had, the prices went to places you never thought possible. And that's not for me to say they will, but it is simply to say, like, if we get the run that a lot of us are kind of, it's been foretold, it's going to be mind-bending.
It's going to be a lot more Riley Reid gifts from Messi.
Yeah, I will say, and I do take offense to what you just said, because you called a GIF a GIF.
It's not a GIF. Dude, you have a way with
you do understand that the guy that created that file format says it's a GIF. So who are you to come in and call it something else?
Today's the day I learned that it's 100% guaranteed a GIF. I've been calling it a GIF.
It is a GIF. Do not call it a GIF.
If you ever find me calling it a GIF, slap me.
Rob, you know what? You're that guy that goes to a restaurant and orders the salmon.
No, you are, dude.
You are. You are. What are you talking about?
No,
Yes, I'd like the pecan encrusted salmon, please.
No, man. That's how I feel about GIF.
Oh, come on,
dude. No.
Come on. You know what? We've got to end the show here because Rob has to go eat salmon.
Oh my god.
I picture him now.
Can't believe how much I can't believe how much I've learned this episode, and I think the best thing I've learned isn't even a shitcoin or not even in crypto. It's this Riley Reid thing you said.
Rob's like, hey guys, I gotta go because
I can't believe I never, dude. It's one of the things that puts a smile on my face when you do your memes with that image, and I've never ever Googled, looked it up. I never.
She's so happy. She's so happy.
So who's Riley Reid? Now I'm catching up. I was charting.
She's gonna.
Is she the bridger?
That's the one where.
Oh, are you doing some research as well?
I'm looking at the chat. Okay. I'm like, what did I miss? This is Rob's favorite thing. I can't miss this.
All right.
She bridges to AVAX.
You guys are witnessing history right now. Both Rob and RT are getting Riley Reid.
All right.
I can't believe it.
I'm talking about my childhood here. I'm happy to share this with you.
Man, am I aging myself being like a Pam Anderson maxi like back in the day? She's still around. She just co-sponsored the MILF project this year. She's been on BitClout.
I mean, did you see that video of Pam Anderson with Tommy Lee on the boat though? On that yacht?
Messi.
Yeah, that was the biggest scandal of my childhood. It's amazing.
Please put out a 24 to 48 hour tweet poll about GIF or GIF, and don't fucking make.
Why do I need to poll something?
Just please don't lead people in one way or the other. Just put out.
The guy who made it calls it a GIF. What are you talking about?
Don't do that. Just put it out there. Not saying any of that. Do you pronounce it with the hard G or the soft? I want to see what the poll says. Just throw it out.
Unbiased structure.
Okay. Well, two things. A, choosy moms choose GIF, and everybody knows that. And B, the guy who made it says it's called a GIF. So I just don't think you were the authority on this.
Put that out there later. Just put the poll out about GIF.
Do the goddamn poll. That's.
I'm scared to put the poll out because
it's not about who's
to witness the collective ignorance of crypto Twitter.
Put the poll out. Put the fucking poll out. GIF or GIF. Let's just do it. Let's see. I guarantee it's over 70%.
Rob just put his president hat on. That was like I'm not asking you. I'm letting you know the poll goes out.
Let's. What do I get if people vote in your favor?
If you put it out in objective, unbiased, don't put your BS out there.
I won't. Just straight up poll. Will you? How about this? If I win, I'm going to make this a one-day poll. I'm not gonna shill it. I'm not gonna advertise it. I'm not gonna skew it in any way. If I win, will you buy a banana suit on Amazon and show up to stream in the banana costume? It's like $40.
Oh, okay.
No chance you win. And this win is over 50%. Put it out there, unbiased.
Okay.
We have a bet,
on.
sirs. It's on the blockchain. We've got video evidence. Guys, thank you so much for sticking around today to watch the show. If you did enjoy what you saw, or if you didn't anyways, just give us a like because you stuck around anyways. And hit the sub and the bell so you know when we're going live next. And you can stay tuned for Friday. I'll be back on for Hero Labs Live. And I believe we have Shitcoin Church possibly coming up. That was a leading question. Yeah, we might have a Shitcoin Church this week. If AVAX breaks all-time highs, you can count on it.
Maybe. I might do one more. We are going to be winding down Shitcoin Church. I do have a new format that I'm going to be presenting soon. I am sourcing a producer for this format right now. I think you guys are going to love it. It's going to be way more frequent. It's going to be shorter. So stay tuned for that. I'll have more info for you.
That is news to everyone on the stream. So that is hot breaking news, guys.
We're talking like maybe 3 or 4 or 5 streams a week, but keeping it at like maybe 15, 20 minutes rather
Rob's
than
about to bridge.
having just a 1 hour a week. So if you do like the antics, the shenanigans, you want to see me on my worst days and my best, you want to see me suffer, you want to see me celebrate, you're going to be into this.
All right. So if you want to see Rob in a banana suit, vote GIF, right? GIF?
No, I want the
no,
realness, dude.
don't. Yeah, okay. Don't finagle the numbers. Okay, guys. Whatever you do from now until next time, stay safe. Always play from a position of strength. Take care. I always call it GIF.